Okay, time for a look at the latest batch of introductions. Let me just save the changes. Okay, let's take a look. So, we've got a discussion and opinion essay here. So let's have a quick look at the question and my introduction first, then we'll take a look at yours. Okay. Now, some people believe that there should be fixed punishments for each type of crime. Others, however, argue that the circumstances of an individual crime and the motivation for committing it should always be taken into account when deciding on the punishment. Discuss both views and give your own opinion. Okay, so according to some people believe. Okay, that's the first thing. Fixed punishments, each type of crime. Every crime should have a fixed sentence as punishment. Okay, pretty straightforward. Wrong colour. What is that colour? Is it yellow? Doesn't matter. Fixed punishments, each type of crime. Okay. So that's the first two parts. Others, however, argue becomes however others believe. Okay, you can see how we're changing the word order here. The circumstances of an individual crime and the motivation for committing it. Motivation and circumstances. Circumstances and motivation. Okay, that's rather a long-winded way of expressing the same thing. Should always be taken into account when deciding on the punishment becomes need to be considered before sentencing the offender. Pretty straightforward so far. In my view, each type of crime should be punished on a case-by-case basis. So in paragraph 2, I'll be talking about that. That's my view, which is circumstances and motivation, case by case. Okay, as blanket sentencing, which in that one is fixed punishments for each type of crime. It's called a blanket because it covers all. Yeah. So as blanket sentencing goes against the principles of justice. So you can see how I've paraphrased this. Yeah. So we've got some people believe, according to some, fixed punishments, each type of crime, fixed sentence as punishment. Others, however, argue, however, others believe. Circumstances, motivation becomes motivation and circumstances. Be taken into account, need to be considered when deciding on the punishment before sentencing the offender. And then I'm going to be talking about, I think, the circumstances and motivation case by case. That's how each crime should be punished or sentenced, versus the opposite view, blanket sentencing, which is what they say about fixed punishments for each type of crime. We call it a blanket because it covers all. Okay, pretty straightforward so far. According to some, that's very good, fixed punishment should be inflicted, okay, on people committing different kinds of crimes. However, conditions and the goals of, I'm not sure about goals of individuals should be taken into consideration while giving punishment. So this is pretty similar to mine, as a matter of fact. Pretty similar. Conditions, paraphrase, for circumstances. Goals of individuals should be circumstances, because that's not, goals and circumstances are not quite the same thing. However, this does work though. Should be taken into consideration, should be considered. That's how I expressed it. While giving punishment, so you give punishment, you hand out a punishment. Okay. In my view, a certain fixed penalty should be carried out for each crime. Well, it's not carried out. It's like, well, you can carry out a penalty, but for a crime, maybe sentencing should be given for each crime, since it can increase safety and security as well as justice. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good, I have to say. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. It's believed by some that the sort of punishment must be identified. Why is it? Why do we have must be? Must be. So either must be identified according of crimes must be. Right, so the sort of punishment must be identified according to crimes. I get your general idea, but that's not phrased very well at all. Sort of punishment must depend, or must be dependent on the severity of the crime or on the type of crime, but that doesn't really work. Without any other considerations, well, others say that the crimes depending on circumstance, that the crimes, okay, right, and it's not about these crimes, it's the punishment. So while others say that the punishment for such crimes should depend or must depend on the individual circumstances, okay, which may lead them to do them. Okay, so some missing words, some word order needs a bit of attention there. I strongly believe that we should have clear as an adjective rules, not a clearly as an adverb, but we should have a clear rules in order to prevent the crimes. But it's not about crime prevention though. It's about punishment and sentencing, which is not the same thing. Otherwise, the gang need some verb there, always looking for a way to prove their crimes came of their situations, and they did because something out of their control. Okay, it's not about rules to prevent crime, it's about sentencing and punishment. And it's about, is it a blanket sentence? Every murder is 10 years, every rape is 15 years, or is it individual cases? So that's not too bad, but there's some grammar issues, there's some verbs kind of missing, some word order, so that could do with a little bit of work. In recent decades, nope, it doesn't say anything about that. It doesn't say that at all. Where does it say that? It doesn't say that. Doesn't say that. Whether setting fixed no, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. Now, this is an excellent example of a 5.5 or a 6 band introduction, where you introduce things that were not present, excuse me, that were not present or are not present in the actual wording of the topic. They don't like this. In recent years, in recent decades, currently much debate, much controversy. They don't like this because it's not true. It doesn't actually say that. This first introduction, look at this. That's what you need. That's what you need to be aiming for, right? That's basically the same as mine. It's virtually, and I didn't read this before I wrote mine. Okay, I just read this here. I typed out this first so I could, give like you a demonstration, and then I saw this. And as you see, Ellen, she's written this virtually the same as me, identical. So that was good. That's for some word order stuff here, but this one here, in decades, sparked much debate. Well, no, it hasn't. Flexible opposing mental commenting on my position. Okay, and another good example of the band 5.56 essay, no clear opinion, and this is what you call a scope or empty sentence, where you don't actually say anything. Now, if you look at ours, okay, we've got a clear opinion. Fixed penalty for each crime, okay. In mine, case-by-case circumstances. So we've got a clear opinion, and then we mentioned what we're going to be talking about for the opposite view. Blanket sentencing, and here we're going to be talking about safety and security and justice. Okay, so try to avoid this kind of introduction because it's no good. This is like band 5.56. I mean, I don't know what the rest of the essay is like, but don't do it like this. If you look at good band 9, oh dear, sorry, band 8.5 examples, They're like this. They're like this. They're not like this. I hope you can see the difference between these two. Yeah. In some views, what you mean according to some, all offenders of each type of crime should be punished by, or punished or have the same penalty. On the other hand, others are of the opinion that penalty is better to be based on the reasons and circumstances. Okay, yeah, good. I also like well, you're not voting, are you? So I also like the latter notion. This is rather a convoluted way of saying, in my view, I agree with, etc. I know that's what you mean, but how that's worded, that's not very natural. But still, not too bad. Some individuals' idea of punishment is just restricted to the nature of... Well, it's not to the nature, is it? What does that mean? The nature? That's not the same thing as saying fixed kind of crime, because the nature, I mean, I could walk into a shop with a shotgun, take your cash out of the till and leave. Or I could walk into your shop with a shotgun, kill you, everybody in the shop, take your cash, rape your dog, and burn your shop to the ground. That would be a slightly different nature of the crime. So I think what you do mean here is that, every crime, every particular type of crime, which is not the same as nature, should be punished in the same way. Always consider different aspects, motivation, okay. Specifying flexible penalty or a flexible penalty or flexible penalties for various intentions. Well, it doesn't matter what the intention is. Can be more just for my part in this matter. No idea what that means. Don't mean to be harsh, but I have no idea what that means. That's not clear at all. A deadly crimes, right in regards of what is behind it, should be punished to the fullest. Again, I'm not really sure. So, I kind of get your very general idea, but it's not so clear. Consider this. This is pretty clear. So is this. This is what you've got to be aiming for. Right? Try and be as clear as possible. Because we can get the general idea, but it's a bit convoluted. Very difficult for the reader to follow. Okay, it is argued that we need to have flexible punishment according to crimes and the guilty person conditioning. I'm not sure what that is. If that's supposed to be circumstances, I'm not quite sure what that means. Others believe fixed punishment should be considered for any types of crimes. Isn't it all types? Although it is important to have preventive punishment, it's likely to know what punishment has. Yeah, no idea what that sentence means. Again, I don't mean to be overly critical or harsh, but I have no idea what that actually means. Consider, consider this, and consider what's the best two. Yeah, consider that. Okay, compare. Which one is easy to understand? It's this one. Okay, so that's what you've got to be aiming for. That's it. Try and keep it clear and simple, and if you can do that, you will be fine. Excellent. Right, I've got to go. I've got some students coming, so I'll upload this, and I'll see you next time.